Yeah, sure. Stop that prayer. There you go. In the book of Hosea, Hosea was a prophet in the Old Testament, which means God used him in order to speak to Israel, his people. So Hosea was kind of the middleman. So we had like God and then Israel, people group, and then he needed to talk to them one way, so he was a prophet. So Hosea was that prophet. And in the story, I think I put up first couple verses of Hosea. Hosea is the very beginning of his book. It's actually right here. This is literally the second verse of Hosea. When the Lord began to speak through Hosea, the Lord said to him, "Go marry a promiscuous woman and have children with her. For like an adulterous wife, this land is guilty of unfaithfulness to the Lord." So right off the bat, God calls Hosea to go marry this woman. Okay, this woman's name, we later find out her name is Gomer, or Gomer, or Guamar, if she's French or whatever. But so he married Gomer, daughter of the land, and she conceived and bore a son. And so Gomer describes her as a promiscuous woman. And so that is, in other words, she was a prostitute. Okay, so she was doing very sinful things with other men outside of the biblical law, okay? And so we're not going to get too far into that because we'll say that for later. And so essentially Gomer, right, is living in her sin. Okay, she's forgotten God, she's forgotten the Old Testament law. She doesn't care. She's throwing him behind her. Okay, she's living in her sin. She's choosing that sin. And Hosea is now is called by God to go and now marry her, to take her out of her sin, to redeem her. This is this word that I got and I really liked, redemption. Okay, in order that Hosea redeemed her. Okay, and redeemed means to be bought back or to clear by payment. And then later in the story, Gomer actually leaves Hosea. So Hosea goes out of his way to marry this woman, to take her out of her horrible life of slavery and prostitution, okay, and brings her into a loving relationship, has kids, starts a family, and then she's like, "Nope, later, I'm out," and bounces. And she does this multiple times, and every single time, what do you think Hosea would do? Think he'd say, "Okay, Gomer, go ahead. You know, I brought you in, I loved you, and now you're giving me the hand. What am I doing now?" Every single time, he runs after her. And it's this incredible story that God then uses to talk about Israel at this time. Okay, because Israel, no matter how many times God goes after them and continues to love them and bring them into a family, bring them into a relationship, they keep going back to their sin. They keep living in their sin. And they say, "God, you have to talk to the hand. I'm going to do my own thing." And so that's exactly what Gomer was doing to Hosea. And every single time, what's so powerful about this story is that Hosea would chase after her and bring her back into his family, bring her back into a relationship, and continue to love her. And so that's just kind of our story now. And so I'm going to pause and, when again, pause. And so I had young Tommy Two Toes. Where are we at? Thomas, go ahead and come up here once again. Before this, Thomas and I sat down and we wrote out some sins on this fun little paper here. We had to pre-write it because it's actually like super tough to write on this paper. It smears and everything. And so Thomas and I decided to, if you want to pull that up. I just asked him to write down, I had like 4 pieces of paper, and I said, all right, just write 4 random sins off the top of your head. And so we decided on lying, we decided on gossip, we decided on and we decided on stealing. Okay, all of these are wrong. All of these in the Bible it talks about as a no-no. These are sins. And so I just want to bring up Thomas because him and I just powerhouse duo just hammered these out before this message. So I just wanted you guys to really, not the glory to me, but the glory to Thomas. Okay, really, because this man, in all of his wisdom, came up with these 4 sins that I could use in this message. So Thomas, go ahead. So I'm just going to set these sins out here, right here. And Thomas and I asked him if he would like rank them. Okay, and we decided on, it would go gossiping, lying, stealing, murder. Okay, that's just how we rank them. Murder's a big no. Okay, and gossip's just like, okay, let's just gossip. And so we put that on that far side. We go murder all the way through here. And so when I had this idea for how I wanted to do this, it came to me when I was at the Cove, which is the high schoolers' way of boats. Okay, so our summer camp, it's not boats, it's not super fun like your guys'. But we did the Cove, is what it's called. And so one morning I was at the Cove, this was a couple weeks ago, and I was just chilling on a rock, doing my morning Bible study. I got up before the sun did, so it was like a little bit light outside, but the sun wasn't showing yet. And so I got up and I was just chilling on a rock, and I was reading my Bible, and I don't even know where I was reading. I think it was somewhere in Matthew, but this scripture came up, and it was about God's love for us. Like I said, I can't exactly remember where. But as I was reading it, then the sun came over like a hill, and as I'm reading about God's love, then it just shined on me, and I was like, oh my God, I was blown away. And I'm just trying to cover my, geez, I'm trying to read here. And then all of a sudden, I was like, wait a second, that sun, that is God's love. And I don't know where the heck it came from, but I was feeling its warmth and feeling the heat of it as I was reading about it. And I was just like, wow, that is God's physical way of loving me. And I was like, that is his way of stepping out of the Bible, of stepping out of just words on a page and doing something more than that. And I was like, wow, that's cool. That was really cool. And then all of a sudden, these sins popped into my head. And I was like, wait a second. But I've lied before. I've stolen before. Sure, I haven't murdered before, but I've gossiped about people. I was like, how is the sun still shining on me? How is God continuing to love me if I've done this? If I've committed these sins? There's no way. Why is he still loving me? And do you guys know what the Bible says about the punishment for sin? Okay, Romans 6:23 says, for the wages of sin, or the price for sin, is death. For the wages of sin is death. That's what the Bible says. Not the wages of murder, not the wages of adultery or idolatry, the wages of sin. Okay, sin. Gossiping, lying, stealing, murder. Okay, because sin, guys, it's not a measurement. Okay, it's not a ranking of a scale. It's not a grading scale. Okay, it's a condition. Whether you're gossiping, lying, stealing, or murder, it's all the same. Sin is sin is sin is sin. Okay, there's no change in it. It's the same thing at the end of the day. And then it was beautiful how Mackenzie came up here and talked about it. But somebody had to die. Okay? The wages of sin is death. Somebody has to die for all of these sins that we commit on a daily, weekly, on an hourly basis. All these sins that we do, and countless others. There's lust, there's hate, there's slander, there's disobeying your parents. I mean, Thomas went through a short list of, kind of idolatry of how we put Xbox, how we put Stranger Things, how we put our phones above God. Okay, that's idolatry right there. All these sins that we do on a daily, weekly, hourly basis, somebody had to die for them. And so exactly like Mackenzie was saying, that person was Jesus. Right, he stepped down from heaven. He stepped down from what people thought it was, oh, he's just chilling up there. He doesn't care about us. He just created us. He's going to do his thing, and then he's just chilling up there. When he steps down, steps out of heaven, comes and lives a flawless life, lives a perfect life, lives a sinless life without gossip, lie, steal, murder, lust, adultery, anything. Sinless. And then climbs upon a cross, and Isaiah 53:5, it says, but he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed. So the nails that went into his hands, that was our transgression. That was our sin. What hung him to the cross was our sin that he had flawless life. He was sinless. He was perfect. So why did he go up there and die on the cross? It was for us. It was for our sin. That's why. And the cool thing here, what I want to tie it all back to, is that God does not care what you have done, what you are doing, or what you will do. Okay, because every time you choose, you get the choice. Every time you choose to live in your sin, you choose to run back to your life, just like Gomer did, to ditch Hosea, to ditch God and say, talk to the hand, God. I'm living in my sinful life. Every time you choose that, he chooses you. Regardless of what you say is, this is my God, this is my idol, this is my life. He chooses to love you. He chooses to show grace. He says, I don't care what you've done, what you're doing, and what you're going to do. 10 years from now, 30 years from now, 2 minutes from now. He continues to turn the other direction and sprint back towards you and grab you, wrap his arms around you, and bring you back into his family. And so he can continue to love you. And every single time, you guys, we're just going to keep breaking his arms and running back towards him. And every single time, he grabs us back. And so, as I was sitting on that rock at the cove, all right, with the sun shining down on me, and I was like, thinking in my head, shoot, I've done these things. Then I knew that regardless of whatever sin I've done, whatever flaws I have, whatever imperfections, God still loves me. And that sun is still shining down on me. It doesn't matter what you put in front of it, all right? It doesn't matter what you try to block it with, that sun is still shining. Nothing can change that. That is the Father's love for us, you guys. Okay, and regardless of the fact that sin is the same thing, it's not a scale, it's a condition. Okay, sin is sin is sin is sin. But God's grace. But God's grace. But God's grace. And that thought just kept flooding my head. And so I knew that every time that I had done a sin, gone. Gone.
It's magic!
Gone.
Witchcraft! It's an illusion. Illusion. Do it again!
Bring it back. Bring them back.
Bring it back.
Okay. That was awesome.
I don't know. I actually don't know.
Teach myself, okay? One from great Tina. Don't try it at home, okay? It's not normal paper, okay? Okay.
What is her
So
laughing
yes,
at?
guys, gossiping and murder. How can I put those two things on the same page? Okay, gossip is way over here, and murder is way over here. And the Bible says no. Okay, sin is sin at the end of the day. And so I want you guys to remember that you are not better than somebody else because of a certain sin that they commit. Okay, you're never better than the person next to you. Okay, because sin is sin is sin is sin is sin. But God's grace, but God's grace, God's grace, God's grace. And every single time that you choose sin, He's running back after you, wrapping His arms around you, pulling you back into His family, and saying, I love you. I don't care what sin you've done. I love you. But God's grace. So,